we're here with Philip Jennings. We just heard you speaking at the Centesimus Annus conference, and you held a speech and you highlighted some important factors regarding spirituality. So I would like you to comment on that, on how spirituality could actually help us to solve some issues that we have right now in our society.
Yeah, I would say that the point I was trying to make is to be a trade union leader, to be part of the trade union family, requires a certain vision. It requires a way of looking at life. And the social doctrine of the church is very important in the life of a union. I was a general secretary of an organization which had members in 160 different countries. And when you look at the social doctrine of the church, which talks about the need for people to join a union, to work for the common good, to work for social justice, to have this sense, you call it subsidiarity, which is something which is not very well understood, but what it means is to devolve decisions into workplaces or to industries and to sectors. This is a great spiritual support because you need to believe in what you're doing. You need to have a sense of a commitment to how you want to change the world. How do you want to change people's lives? So the social doctrine of the church is important. In terms of spirituality as a leader, there are many dimensions to this. It's the need to be compassionate. It's the need to be ethical. It's the need to think of your neighbor. It's the ability to work for the common good, for the ability to be resilient, to have a capacity to reassure and a situation to help. You know, in my arms, I have embraced the mothers and the fathers of their children who have lost their lives because they were active in either politics or they were active in their labor movement. They were killed and murdered. You need compassion to understand their grief. I've met with Palestinian families whose children have lost their lives. I sat with them, I consoled them. So you need some compassion. You need to understand what people's realities are. And I think that sense of this spirit that we have, to have a vision that you can change things, a vision that things are possible, and a spirit that you need to fight. And to fight you need courage and you need commitment. So the spirituality is important. And in the world that we face today, we are in a very tense moment. We talk about fragmentation in geopolitics, but there's a fragmentation in people's lives. And this fragmentation, this brittleness, this sense that no one cares for me anymore. No one worries about whether I can pay the bills at the end of the week. No one's worrying about whether my son or daughter will do better than me. There's a sense of abandonment. And therefore we have to rekindle a sense that, look, use the power that you have, the authority that you have, and get organized, that you can change things.
Yeah, regarding to this last thing that you said, there is that contemporary philosopher Bauman that speaks about the liquid society and about how capitalism and consumption are basically making the West society lose its values. And regarding to what you said to the nowadays world, do you think that there will be a return to the church and to the social doctrine because of the lack of values and because of what you just said? Capitalism and consumption is like devaluing human beings.
There's always been a struggle between capital and labor, and there's always been the lessons from the church. What does the church say? That the worker is more important than capital. And there's no objection from the church in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of a business leader. But don't put financial considerations, profit considerations above the welfare of people. And this is being forgotten. We work very hard for corporate social responsibility, to have a broader social purpose and so forth. But this is becoming increasingly difficult. And what I tried to get the message across this morning is that when you look at who has their hands on the levers of power in this new AI world, we're talking about a handful of companies and a handful of people. And the ideology that they have, the belief systems that they have, seem to be a million miles away from the social doctrine of the church. They talk about the common good because you have more connectivity, which we realize it. But their belief, the ideology that runs it is more in the hands of Hayek and the Mont Pelerin Society than it is in Magnifica Humanitas. So they are against regulation. They're against that. They have the sense that you're on your own, that individual power matters, and therefore this kind of destruction of the social fabric, the destruction of the sense of community is real. And that's why with this week with the Magnifica Humanitas, the time is right to begin. I would say it's part of the fight back. There's a backlash out there. And now what I want is to get the global trade union movement here in the Vatican. We were here in 2017 to come back to the Vatican to discuss with Pope Leo how is the labor movement going to put into practice the spirit and the action called for in the Magnificat Humanitas.